gotta be. I ain't living in your fantasy, and I'll be real if it's the death of me. I'ma be who I gotta be, and I don't care who you pretend to be, cause I'll be real if it's the death of me.
Yeah. We can go play pickleball.
Let's bring this back to like the everyday person, the worker, because like I ain't going to college to play football, so I would assume that I wouldn't go to the NFL as well. Like, you know, I got a shot, but it's kind of slim, so I'm gonna just let it pass. I'm gonna let them off. You know what I'm saying?
You doing them a favor, man.
Exactly. Like,
they ain't ready for you.
Try not to say it that way, but yeah, I'm pretty much doing y'all a favor.
Hey, man.
But like the average worker, like, how do you navigate, you know, maybe like your loyalty to a place or your like for a place? Like you got a job that you really like, but hey, like I'm trying to move up in my career. And it could be like a steady progression too. Like I feel like some people are more aggressive than others. Like some people trying to get a let's say a 20% raise every year, and somebody else is like, yo, 7% raise to go with inflation is good enough. Like how do you as that person who's just looking for that 7%, like check the boxes, have the conversations in order to make sure you're progressing in your career, whether you're staying at the same place or moving on? Like what would y'all suggest?
I think that's why I related to it so closely, is because I just so recently went through it. I think I was pretty loyal to the company that I was at. And as y'all know, I received an offer from my current company, but I didn't reach out to them. Like I had no intentions of leaving anytime soon. I got reached out to by the head of operations of this new company, and they're like, hey, we see you're not, you know, currently marked as looking for a new role, but we gotta, can we have a conversation pretty much? I'm like, sure. They threw some numbers out there and I'm like, whoa. But I wasn't blown away by the numbers. But what that did do was that did give me a come to realization. I'm like, okay, let me think about
my goals.
Yeah. Let me think about my market value here. So I really started to look into my market value. So it's really important to understand that.
Okay.
And then I realized that, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm really loyal to this company that I'm at right now. So I kind of put that on hold, and I'm like, went back to my current company. I said, hey, so I just received an offer for X, Y, and Z. First of all, I have not been, you know, I haven't been actively searching for a job. Just want to clarify that. It's always going to give you a bad look or a weird look, you know.
You a sellout.
You trying to leave us? But yeah, so I'm like, you know, y'all know I rock with y'all, man. I just need me a raise of like, you know,
100, 130.
Just like 30,000. I just need a little slight raise. Y'all know my market value. Y'all know I'm good, right? They like, no, like you should be good right here. This is what you came in at. So like you should stay right there for a year or two. You'll be good. It's like, well, wait a second. If I'm gonna be loyal, I need y'all to be loyal too. So at least, you know, have some consideration for my market value, have some consideration for my tenure. And also to the point that Kenny always brings up, y'all do a great job of bringing it up, but like people's potential and their learning opportunities. Like just because I only know X, Y, and Z right now, certain features, functionalities, like what if I turn into your best associate or employee with certain features and functionalities down the road? Compound interest on employment, like they have to respect and value that. So like pretty much the loyalty needs to be both ways. And if it's not, don't be a fool. In my opinion, don't be a fool and fall for a company to say, you know what, well, they got some really nice merch, or you know, they let me do this and that. Look at that entire package, benefits, salary, you know, what equity, whatever. Like look at everything and make sure that you truly evaluate it, and don't be oblivious. Like look at the loyalty. How loyal are they to you? Because if the other company's talking about something better, and evaluate that too, but like really break it down and think about it. Like to me, I understand why Dion left, because I'm like, look, this company, I broke it down. I really thought about it. I said, I've been doing this here. You know what? They got that over there. I came back and let them know this. They said
that makes sense.
You know what I mean? That's
you should have said that 30, 40 minutes ago.
That's why I closely relate to it, man. Because I feel like I was the old company I was at, great company, but and I had every intention. Like I told you, I said I'll probably stay here for a year or two, maybe 3. Yeah. You know, build some great experience, and the next thing you know, hey, this company said, hey, this is actually your market value. You should be making this. Your PTO should be this. You should get so much back. I'm like, is everybody getting that? And they're like, everybody's getting that. I'm like, hey, can I talk to y'all real quick? I went back to my company like, so when was y'all gonna tell me that? You know what I'm saying? No, like, yeah, man, you can't be oblivious. You gotta really think about it. It's just like they'll get away with. I mean, they'll get away with whatever you let them. You know, so if you never bring it up or surface it, they're just like, hey, they in the back office probably like, hey, bro, we offered him 30,000 less, and he took it. We got him, boys. Never know, man. I'm not saying that's your company, but the truth is it can be a reality, man. So you got to look out for yourself and be loyal to yourself and make sure that they're loyal in you before you dump too much loyalty into them.
Ooh-wee. Bar. Mic drop. Lo said he trying to end the podcast.
Yeah, I don't even have to go after that.
No. Go ahead, Kenny. Go ahead.
I mean, he had some pretty good points. Like loyalty only goes so far. You can't let loyalty to a company overtake your loyalty for yourself. But that doesn't mean you go in there. You can't go into a job expecting all these pay raises without the work to back it up.
Yep.
So if you're trying to negotiate a raise, you have to have the resume to do it, right? You have to have the best way to do it is, at least for me, take notes throughout your year or whatever when you're approaching yearly review time. Take notes for all the projects you've done. Take notes of your accomplishments. Take notes of things you can improve on. Also, you should be working on this with your manager, right? The good thing with your manager is if you have one-on-one, set goals. Tell your manager, these are my goals for this quarter, this year. This is what I want to set out to do. So that way you have it in writing. Like, oh, I set these goals out. I accomplished them. This is what I did to accomplish them. This is how I accomplished them. Like, you can't be asking for a raise if you don't have anything to back it up.
Yes.
Great point.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say, Kenny, is like there's got to be more. So like, Los, you mentioned like potential and learning opportunities. Then Kenny, you followed it up with like, hey, like list out your accomplishments. You got to show it.
You have to show that you actually have the aptitude for growth. And the thing is, like, a good manager knows that, or a good manager should raise you as a direct report, as an employee, to outgrow your position. So you should be expected to leave or seek to get out, like to bust free. And if I'm a manager and my direct report has been with me for 2 years, I've seen them grow, and they come to me and they're like, hey, like, I got a new job offer for this, I'm happy. I'll be like, hey man, like, can I do anything to get you to stay? Like, then this is stuff that's happened to me before, right? Like, they say, hey, can we do anything to get you to stay? And I'll level with them. I'll be like, it's not a money thing right now. It's, there's no upward movement for me. Like, this is what I'm doing, like, for my career. And my manager, and usually my managers every single time have respected it, because a good manager will be happy for you and want what's best for you. Like, because at the end of the day, you're a person, and like that matters more than the company.
Kenny just said something super important. Like, number one, set up one-on-one, set up a meeting with you and your manager, to whether it's twice a month or once a week, whatever is fitting and whatever your manager allows. But your manager is, like, a good manager is already setting this up with you. They're literally growing you to take their position, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to take their boss's position, most likely, or they're growing you to go somewhere else. Like, that's what good managers do, no matter where you are. So number one, recognize if you have a good manager or not. Is your manager asking you how you want to grow, what your long-term goal is, how to get to that next position? Are they clear with you on that? Like, first, be aware of that. And if your manager isn't good, which there are probably more not good managers than there are good, just how it works, then make sure you take the steps. Hey, like, I want to take initiative. Can we just set up a meeting so I can learn what you know? Not so I can take your role, but just so I can grow and be more efficient in what I'm doing now, so a year from now I can be that much better.
And this is something that you should learn even during the interview process. You need to ask, what does growth look like in this position? Like, right. And most, if it's some companies aren't going to have a great answer for you, but I feel like most companies are going to have at least some path for you to follow, and they're going to have some explanation. If they say like, oh, well, you can work here and we'll figure it out, then that's not something that's
I'll tell you a great example. My company, when I came on, they told me, like, from the old one to the new one, they told me pretty much, I asked a similar question to that, and I'm like, yeah, so what does career progression look like here? They gave me a glide path with timestamps. Beautiful. He's like, 6 months here, do this gap. we'll do 2 to 3 months here, this gap. And I'm just like, chef's kiss. It was everything that I asked for. And it was all performance based, and then also like transparency. So I didn't,
Yeah.
I had no idea that, those, I won't even say I had bad leaders, but leaders that are on top of your development because they want to move to the next level, like you said,
exactly.
make it easier
Yeah.
for you. So you can make it easier for them.
Yeah, exactly. Like when a manager is more focused on their own progression than yours, that's a bad managerial relationship.
Also, if you're a manager out there, like understand that if you're not growing the people on your team, most likely your team isn't performing how they should. So no matter what, you probably won't get promoted because of that. So
if your team looks good, you look good.
Your
Or your
team looks
team
good.
may be building somewhere else too.
But also like you have to like understand how much like there's an appreciation both ways too. Like the managers do so much. They're umbrellas, right? They shield their workers from all of the shit that they get from their boss and other departments. So like at least a good manager should do that, right? Like a good manager should allow you the space to work and grow and not be affected by things that are outside of your role necessarily, or things that you don't have to worry about.
I got one more like kind of question on navigating this, and then we can like wrap it up. But like, how do you navigate like the politics around it? Let's be honest, like we don't like everybody in our workspace. It's not easy to work with everybody in our workspace, but we may have a manager that legitimately doesn't want to help us. Like, how do you still progress in your role if you don't have support or if it's a toxic environment? Like, feel free to go wherever y'all want with that.
I think you
Go ahead, Kenny.
You want to start, Liz?
Yeah, I'll kick it off with my
it
previous experience. So as you know, like I was on night shift. 0 eyes, 0 visibility in terms of leadership and management. But what I ended up having to do is build up that quantifiable data that can't be, you can't look at it and say that it ain't what it is. Like the numbers are there, they don't lie. So I had to build up, like to your point, I had to build up everything that I was working on, everything that I was a part of, and show my worth and my value and what I've been doing, which automatically stuck out. But on top of that, I had to like it sounds shady, but you gotta work around sometimes. You got a bad leader, you have a chain, you should have some sort of chain of command. Like I just pretty much surfaced at anybody who practices an open door policy, and I said, look, this is what I've got going on. This is what I feel like I've been doing. I know that I've been going above and beyond. Not only have I not been getting recognition, but at the same time, my workload's just getting heavier. So like, what do next steps look like from here? And it's like, nobody has actually told us this? So like, then they're like, okay, well, look, your boss has actually been under a lens and this and that. So like now, sometimes can of worms get cracked open that nobody's done. So like if you're somebody that you feel like has been excelling and exceeding, it's not always you. It's not always you. You may have a bad leader and you may just have to navigate that. Don't be afraid to surface it with somebody. And at the same time, on that note, I was fully prepared if I had to sit down and look directly at my direct report or look at my boss and say, yeah, I've been undervalued. You haven't been helped. Like I was ready for that. So I would say almost if you can be ready, if you have to, surface it with somebody else. Bring it up to it. It may come to them and they may not be too emotionally intelligent to work that and navigate that to say, bird around, a little bird on the rock said X, Y, Z. They may say no. Leo said that you said, so just be ready for that. Have that quantifiable data, but speak up because those promotions and those promotions, transfers, and that could be the difference in thousands of dollars. That could be the difference in happiness and everything under the sun. So that's my
you gotta be careful of that can backfire.
Yeah, you brought up a good point. Like if the people who aren't necessarily prepared to have those conversations, it's gonna be harder for them to navigate, and then their boss probably is like ready to, oh, okay, like you're speaking up against me, I'm gonna do this and that. Like it's kind of happened to me in a couple instances. What I would say for that person is number one, set those expectations. We kind of just talked about setting expectations ahead of time. As soon as you jump into a situation, like set the expectations. What can I do? How can we work together? All that stuff. And make sure that you have it written down somewhere. Don't just have a conversation. Even if the person only wants to talk about it over the phone or in person, send a follow-up email. Hey, I'm just sending this email so that, we're clear on what we talked about. It's a reminder for me, like, accountability for myself, however you want to spend it, but like put it in an email.
Yep.
Put it in a document or something like that. Like whatever you got to do, make sure that you're clear about expectations and the numbers. You mentioned the numbers, like making sure you got the numbers. Hey, in 6 months, this project needs to happen. Oh, 6 months, project is done. What's next? I'm on track.
Here's my numbers versus theirs.
Yeah, here's my number versus theirs. Yeah.
There's a lot of avenues this could go. I mean, if you want to talk about like a toxic manager, like because politics can be a lot of things, right? So if you have a manager that's actively working against you, the best advice that I could give is just to keep track of everything. You need to have a body of work to back up your claims.
Yeah.
And like what you said, keep everything in writing. You like, because going like cutting out your manager and going above their head is a very bad look a lot of the time. And so you have to have a very justifiable reason for doing that.
Yep.
So like you need to have proof. You need to have, not, I mean, proof sounds bad. It's a negative connotation, but like you need to have, I mean, you just need to have examples of like you trying to communicate and getting shut down. Like you need to be able to bring substance to someone else and be like, hey, this is what's going on. But there's a lot of times I think, like if you're in an environment where everyone's working against each other, like your coworkers, not just like your manager, I'm sure, I don't know, like I've seen different archetypes of people. Like I have one, like I've seen a stereotype of person who is the loudest but does the least, right? And then you get those silent warriors who don't speak up at all, but they're pumping out work.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, it's just have something that you can have, a body of work that you can show, you can always reference. That way that helps you navigate.
Yeah. This also requires a high level of self-awareness too. Because there's gonna be somebody who listens to this and like, yeah, I do deserve way more. Yeah, my boss is working against me. It's like, your past 5 bosses have been working against you. Like, probably not. Like, it's probably got it's probably got something to do with you. Or this issue has happened for 5 months straight. And no one's listened to it. Okay, like, have you taken the steps? Have you done everything? Like, there's a lot of things behind that. Like, you probably need to have some self-awareness. And number one, I think the answer to almost anything is like accountability. Yep. Even if someone else is screwing up, if your boss sucks, like take as much accountability of the situation as you can. My boss sucks. All right, cool. I've taken this extra measure to make sure that I'm covered or documented or working harder. All right, my boss still sucks. All right, let me take an extra measure and making sure I'm exhausting all efforts. If I'm doing what's best for the business, there's going to be somebody that sees it and cares about it and is willing to do something. Like, there's not going to be ever, if it's good for the business and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, no one is ever going to be like, oh, like, what's this person doing? Like, working too hard. I mean, no one above your boss. Let me put it that way. There's definitely going to be some people at your level or probably behind you mad because you're outworking them. But be self-aware.
Yeah. The definition of that I'll leave on is that, like, a relentless person is not defined by, I guess I should say a relentless person is defined by what's said about them when they're not in a room, and it comes out to show for sure when it comes to the workplace. It comes out most definitely when that thing that comes up and everybody like, oh, I ain't doing that. Like, oh, it's already done. He did it. So that's when it comes out. I ain't staying that long. Well, I ain't doing, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. And I'll just leave it as like, if you're self-aware and you can look back and you don't, and you're like, your company really isn't valuing you, someone will. Find a company that will.
Yeah. Go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. Go get that money. Go get that career progression. Go get that happiness. Like, that's what we're talking about at the end of the day. Go get that peace, like all that good stuff.
Go get that happiness and that peace.
Yeah. Go get you some prime time. Kenny, go lightly. Y'all got anything that's inspired y'all this week?
It's getting close to the holidays, man.
Getting close to the holidays, yeah.
It's
holidays
exciting.
are pretty much here.
I encourage everyone to take time to themselves, to their family, like just disconnect for a little bit, because we all been working too damn hard.
Yeah. True that.
Facts.
I second that.
Yeah, no, I think we're on the same train. I'm not gonna lie, I am legitimately motivated because I'm about to take some time off. Like,
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, like that's what's motivating me right now. Y'all know I love to work, but like my breaks, my weeks off, days off, whatever, like priority in my life. So
yeah. Oh, I'll also say I was motivated by the fact that I was forced to take PTO for Christmas week. So
wow.
they kicked me out. They're not like we got unlimited PTO, but they kicked me out. They was like, look, man, for the most part, everybody gonna be celebrating. Close that computer, man. Just
That's awesome.
yeah. I've never been kicked out of work, but still get, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, definitely inspired me. I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe they invested in me a little bit. Now I owe, a little bit of extra efforts in there. Not that I'm leaving any on the table, but
Yeah. Next time we really gonna have to hop on here and talk about goals, y'all. So that's a action item. I gotta make mine because I'm at my 5-year mark. So of my list. So we gotta make goals. I got some goals for us for the new year. I'm excited. I want to get focused though. That's one thing I want to do is get focused on a few things. So
all right. That's
what it.
Cool. I appreciate y'all hopping on. Thanks for listening. Like we always say, pursue excellence and cherish everyone. Peace. Yo, thank you for tuning into the P.E.A.C.E podcast. This podcast actually started off with 4 friends sitting around a table once a week. We were having conversations to educate ourselves about the world around us, talking about what we're dealing with day to day as regular people, and simply to self-reflect. So that's all that you're seeing us do here, and you're getting to see it live. So I challenge you to do the same thing. If you've made it this far, obviously something caught your attention. So get a group of friends and build a small community and start to join in the conversation. Like, these are tough conversations. These are fun conversations, but these are conversations that are needed to be had. In fact, I want to make it easy for you. If you're listening to this podcast at home, invite a friend over. Or maybe invite 2 friends over, 3 friends over, whatever it is. Turn your TV on, your computer, your phone, wherever you want to watch it, turn the podcast on, okay? And join in the conversation. If you're listening to this maybe on a run, at the gym, I get it. I do the exact same thing. But maybe you can share the link, clip the file or something like that, and just pose one of the questions that you heard here today. The point is to build community and to self-reflect. Oftentimes, we don't vocalize the things that we need to work on, and that's one small way that I think that we can, help improve ourselves, improve others, and most importantly, pursue excellence and cherish everyone. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. We'll see you again next week. Peace.